Now, while everyone's eyes are diverted, let's attend to the overwhelmingly necessary duty. Let's attend to the multi-pronged hypocrisy of catering to the rabid Paul McCartney's posterity. The overarching issue has nothing to do with reality at all, but it's the sacred Lenin hero pass. And Jimmy Crear is to blame. I'm going to put this into perspective. I know they don't like that. I was a young child biting my fingernails bloody because they were going to be torturing me. And they made clear to me that their hatred was murderous. And I went to the principal's office and I begged for help. And they laughed at me. And they didn't investigate when I disappeared for weeks and was found hiding in the towel closet, 1228 Winterton Street. You go and look yourself. Commander Joyce of number 5, you go and look yourself to see if a little boy can't hide in the top of that towel closet. I didn't make this up. The Pittsburgh Post-Gazette right here. Mike McGuff, John Shulman right here. 1228 Winterton Street, I hid in the top shelf of the towel closet. Don't say like Anne Frank. It's the only response that they had to me. It was like Anne Frank. It was a Holocaust simulation experiment by those Jews. And the mailman who wore rubber on his thumb and got very offended, he was going to tell my mother if I said it was a rubber on his thumb. The mailman knew that he was taking a weird letter from a strange Israeli psychopath to a traumatized little boy's house every day and asked no questions. Those letters were from a judge's daughter's friend who was only 12 years old and was Israeli. So therefore, inherently and innately, inborn genetically, must be trusted or else. And you're telling me that these pimps of reason who justified torturing, battering, terrorizing a child who was still in elementary school, explained to him in plain English that they planned to kill John Lennon on a date 6 years later, that you even now deny says what they said, and that this little boy should have comprehended that the whole world was in an orgy to justify this? That's very interesting, Joe Biden. Have you seen a psychiatrist? How did you end up as president of the United States? And yet you sat there and watched this happen? Oh my. Oh my. Let's tell the truth for a second. Jimmy Creary had no chance against it. There was nothing in the letters that could have explained to him that what they were doing was involving the murder of John Lennon. All the evidence shows that John Lennon himself was behind it. It was a Hollywood switcheroo. That the media broadcast the claim that he was murdered while he stepped out. And everything fell into place. The whole game was a soundtrack by the Swami Nostra, which was then going to do like this here and that there, and this here and that there after the fact. It was all set up to do that. That's the fact. You will say that's absurd. But it is not absurd to be advocates for the woman who wrote the script while blaming a traumatized deaf child in the boondocks of the city of Pittsburgh. That's not absurd. But what isn't but what that's not absurd, right? But what is absurd is the idea that the child had a right to be protected, to have his absence investigated after he reported that they were going to kill him to the office and that he mysteriously disappeared, that he had a right to have it investigated. Joe, you're criminally insane. Step down.